Welcome to Sudowrite for Beginners. This is a 7-day series of classes. It's meant to walk you through everything inside Sudowrite, so by the end of the week, you know where a feature is and you know what it does. That way, if you're asking for advice or some tips and somebody says, oh, go do this in first draft, you're not sitting there, where's first draft? What does it do? How do I use it? You're going to know all of those basics by the end of this week. So who is this series for? Well, as it says in the name, for beginners. Pretty basic, straightforward. So if you're completely new to Sudowrite, this should help shorten that learning curve for y'all. Because yes, it is a beast to learn. I know. I started using Sudowrite when what you now know as Story Bible was called Story Engine, and it was in beta. So basically half the program was in beta at that time. We all learned to use it together, including the team. So I understand it is a lot to handle. We're going to help you with that. By the end of this week, you should know all of the basics and some advanced tips. It's also good for returning users. I know we have a couple in the chat. So if you've been away a while, or hey, all of these new features just kept coming out this year and you kind of need a refresher to see everything, this class should work pretty well for you. And again, by the end of this week, you should know where every feature is and what it does. So you can decide, okay, yeah, I like that. I think I'll use this. No, I don't think that will be helpful for my workflow. And you know not to mess with it. Today is going to be one of our slow-paced days, okay? It's going to be a little bit boring, not going to lie to you. Other days will be very overwhelming. I have been told that time and time again because there's so much to cover in this time. Even though we have a full week, I still find I have to rush through a lot and I don't get to cover everything. So this will be one of your slow days. You're going to find out who I am, why in the world you should trust me, and get an idea of what to expect throughout this week. This will only take about 5 or 10 minutes, so please just hang in there with me if you're, like, hey, just get to the stuff already. Just bear with me. The main focus for today, we are going to look at starting a project and ways that you can brainstorm story premises ideas, okay? So we'll go into the good stuff, the fun stuff, and then towards the end of class, we'll go back to the boring stuff and look at some account settings and things that you need to know. There will be a Q&A after the recording stops, so I will wrap up the recording for the sake of the video. I do not leave after the recording stops. You are welcome to unmute, ask all the questions you want. I do hang around until everybody's questions are answered. Please don't worry about not getting your question answered. And look, I just got a glimpse at day 2 and 3. I'm much better at Sudowrite, using Sudowrite than I am at Google Slides. All right, so here is the document we are going to briefly go over. Yes, it looks like a lot. We are not going to cover it all. So that document is for you to save and keep. Again, so who in the world am I? What do I know about Sudowrite or writing? I can tell you right now, I'm a very transparent person, so I will tell you I know a lot more about Sudowrite itself and AI than writing craft. That's why I tend to focus on the AI and program aspects. But I did start writing in 2019. Very depressing story that we will not go into. But one of the things I struggled with was slow writing. Everybody tells you if you're new to writing, just sit your butt in the chair and write. I did that. It was absolutely horrible writing. What I did discover was if I bounced around and wrote scenes as they came to me, so a scene would pop into my head, I'd sit down, I'd write it, I'd absolutely love it. So I'm not the person that sits there and starts at chapter 1 and writes a book. I might write the climax of a story. I might write the ending. I'm always working on more than one book at a time. So it's a very slow process for me. And I was really struggling with getting something finished and published. After trying a lot of programs, and I do mean a lot of them, I found Sudowrite and I have been here ever since. So again, I started when a lot of the program was in beta. I've been using it for a little over 3 years now. And most of that time I have been a teacher for them. I'm one of the lead ambassadors. That's basically just a fancy title they gave me because I helped out so much in the community and put a lot of resources and things together. I love to help people. So if you want to reach out to me on Discord, I'm under the same name, Nicole Broussard. Do not feel bad about reaching out to me on Discord, okay? I welcome messages, welcome questions. I will always help you as much as I can. So, and I can proudly say I literally wrote the book on how to use Sudowrite. So I wrote this, volume 1. It's a couple years old now. Lots of changes have happened. I attempted to keep it up to date, but within 6 months, I had updated that book 3 times. I gave up. The new version will be coming out soon with all the updates. However, I do still think that volume 1 holds lots of little gems, especially in terms of style and genre, where a lot of people struggle with getting the prose the way they want. So I'm very proud of that. I also have a YouTube channel where I help authors use AI, specifically Sudowrite and ChatGPT. So if you prefer some videos, please check that out. And I've created a lot of courses that you see within the Sudowrite classes and everything. So I hope that helps you feel a little bit more confident in my ability to teach you this week. Now let me show you the part that's going to say, oh my God, she is awful. I have 2 books on this pen name. I don't release my other pen names. I have 2 books on this pen name. They are the first 2 books I wrote with AI, Sudowrite specifically. So if you want to feel better about your own writing, read these because I guarantee you're going to go, oh my gosh, I can write way better than this. So check those out if you want. This is a Notion document. I know not everyone is familiar with Notion. If you want to delve into learning more about this, because it's an amazing program to be organized, especially for writers, there's a class right here that you can watch if you're interested. One thing I want you to know, Notion has a free and a paid plan. You do not need that paid plan. The free is fine, and it's what most people use. All right, so this is a glance at our curriculum this week. Again, today, y'all met me. Hello again. I'm Nicole, for anybody just joining. We're going to look at some features to use to show how you could brainstorm a story idea. We'll look at community resources and your account settings. In each of these days, you will see there is a little bit of homework. Again, I am not your teacher. I'm not your parent. This isn't something you share or turn into me. It is just meant to be, hey, work on this right here. And by the time you've done everything this week, you have a really good understanding of the program, okay? Again, this is meant to help you conquer that learning curve and make it easier for you to understand all of the features. So today, we're going to start with that basic story premise. Tomorrow, we're going to work on refining the story premise. So we're going to be in Story Bible for all of these days. We'll work on the world building and outline, scenes, which used to be beats. So for anybody that's returning users, beats are now called scenes. We're going to work on scenes and writing prose. We'll look at the different ways to do that. And then you can look at all the different things we're going to accomplish here. Things could change as we go. Something that was meant to be covered on this day, we might suddenly cover it another day. This is just meant to be a guide. And again, there's little homework steps for each day and some notes that I think you might find useful. Take this one day at a time, please. And use me. Ask your questions if you want me to experiment with something at the end of class so that we use my credits or I can show you how to improve something. Please speak up. That is what I'm here for. All right, here's the biggie. I need you to keep an open mind on this, okay? I'm about to tell you something and it goes 50-50. Half the people are like, oh, that's a good idea. Okay, great, I'm going to do that. The other half is like, no, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to learn how to write this book. I want you to not use your story that you're working on right now. If you have this story idea in your head, get rid of it. If it's more than a sentence, I don't want you to use that during this week. Again, I can't stop you. I can't make you, but this is highly recommended. Again, I've been teaching this for a few years now. And anytime somebody says they finally stopped and they did that project from scratch, like I'm recommending, it changed things. So why does that work so well? I liken it to learning how to sew. If you're just learning how to sew, are you going to go do a wedding dress or a tuxedo or a prom dress or something fancy and intricate? No, you're going to start with like a pair of boxers or a pillowcase, something simple. If you're starting with that story idea where you already know how your characters look, how they act, how they talk, you know your plot points, you know all of these things, right? What you don't know is you don't know how to use the program. So going back to the sewing, you might know how you want that wedding dress to look. You know exactly every detail of how it should look, but you don't know how to sew it because you don't know how to sew at all. So start with something simple. Start with a project. You can use one of the premises that we're going to grab today. You can make something else up. This is not a project you need to finish or even publish. It's just meant to be something you are not attached to in any way. And you're starting from step one, using all of the features that you want to use, making changes without being attached to something, and you're seeing how it affects the program and what it gives you. All right, so y'all are ready to get started, I am sure. And again, feel free to interrupt me if y'all need me to slow down, repeat myself, anything like that. Right, so this is what we call the home screen, project home screen, however you want to refer to it. These are all of my projects, or at least on this account. So to create a new project, you're going to come over here where it says new, the plus new. Click that, and we're going to select project. It does number it according to however many projects you have at the time. So if this is your first project, it's going to be project 1. And you can go ahead and change that name to whatever. So title that. And now we're going to look at brainstorming story premises. I am going to X this out right now. That is our what was formerly Beats box for returning users, now our scenes box. If you ever need to get that back, it's this typewriter icon right here. Okay, clicking that gets rid of it, exit out, brings it back. I want this blank document. So to brainstorm story premises, there are lots of things you can do. And I do have some prompts, very simple prompts, nothing elaborate to give for examples. So I'm going to grab this. And show you how you can actually put that in BrainDump. I'm also going to use this 5 story premise ideas. This is what I'm actually going to use the most of. And then we'll go through first draft and look at some other things. So what genres do y'all write in? Let me pop open chat and see that real quick. Okay, we got a romance, fantasy, sci-fi. Okay. Ooh, dark fantasy. Love it. Okay. So we're going to do a variety of them. What I'm going to do is, as we're doing these story premises, I am going to put them here in this document. I will share this document after we've gathered all these premises. That way, to do that story from scratch, you can go through here instead of having to generate them on your own and use your credits. You could pick one that you might have liked. So the first one I'm going to try is quick chat. Now, to do quick chat, if I had some words written here, I could highlight up to 1,000 words. or I can press the keyboard shortcut. So on PC, that is Control K. On Mac, it is Command K. It pops up with this box right here. You see Quick Edit, Quick Chat. We're going to Quick Chat. There is this toggle. It's grayed out right now. That means it is the free version, okay? This is not going to cost you credits. This is essentially like using ChatGPT, y'all. In fact, it is using ChatGPT, a model of ChatGPT here in this free version right here. Difference is it is completely uncensored and it has access to all of your documents. So as we fill out all of the story Bible information, our characters and world building, I need to have a question. Hey, what other character can I add? Or, oh, help me with this setting. Help me with this plot point. I don't need to give it that story information. It is going to see that already. So Quick Chat is very fun to work with, and it's very versatile. If you can ask ChatGPT the question, you can ask Quick Chat, okay? So I'm going to tell it to give me 5 unique story premises, unique story premise ideas for and we'll do romance first, and we'll do a few. Copy this. While that is doing, I am going to grab a document for y'all. The old one. Let's grab a new one because I put lots more prompts in here. I am pretty sure I have this linked for y'all somewhere in there, but just to make sure. Here is that document for y'all. So this goes over what they look at, highlighting the words, the commands that you can use, different things, shows you what each one looks at in terms of documents, world building, all of that. And there's prompt ideas for you to use. So feel free to look over that at your convenience. All right, so one thing to know about Quick Chat. Right now, there is no history button. There's no way to save this. If I were to exit out, I cannot get this back up. So if you want to save it, just copy everything like this. It is on their agenda, on their roadmap to improve Quick Chat. We don't yet know how that's going to manifest later, but they have lots of good ideas. So I copied that, and I'm just going to put in this document for y'all. I'm going to get rid of this because that is a known bug of it copying twice. Let's see what it gave us here. We're just going to glance through them real quick and move on. So time traveling love letters. Been done a few times. So we have chefs, okay. Could be better, definitely could be better. But again, I used a very simple prompt. My normal go-to prompts are more intricate, but I'm keeping it simple for y'all. All right, so that was romance. I'm going to do, I saw somebody say dark fantasy. That sounds awesome. I'm going to put my cursor up here so it hopefully doesn't read too much. Bring back Quick Chat. And I'm going to turn on the higher quality just so you can see it. Now, obviously, if you had more details, if you know you want enemies to lovers, or if you want certain elements, please put that in there, okay? It doesn't have to be a simple prompt like this. I have given it a very large JSON template for world building, things like that. I have given it my intricate prompts that I normally give for chat. You could do all of that here. Now this higher quality one, let me get that going. That higher quality when it's toggled on in purple, I am in the Muse beta. Muse is fixing to get released to everybody. So my higher quality is using Muse. If you are not in the Muse beta, it uses GPT-4, regular 4? Yes, GPT regular 4. So this is what Muse gave us. We have a shadow orchestra. Kingdom where plants thrive on blood. You know what? There was a movie about that when I was younger. And I know somebody's going to say it. They're going to know it in chat. And that song is going to get stuck in my head. Okay, ruler locks away. Yes, I skipped that word because I have no clue what it even means or how to say it. So a ruler locks away all the mirrors, carrying an ancient prophecy. Rebellion led by reflections. Okay. This one's not bad. The bone collector, I could see potential in there. All right, so I'm going to copy these out for y'all to look through later. I apologize if I sound horrible, y'all. I am fighting a cold, trying not to succumb. Yeah, see if you notice that time it did not do the double copy. So strange. All right, so that is one way to brainstorm story premises. You have other ways, including this brainstorm one up here. I love brainstorm. Lit RPG people, play with brainstorm. I think you're going to love it. One thing I want you to note, look at all these boxes. It does not matter which one you click into, okay? Just because it says world building doesn't mean I can't ask it for characters or lines of dialogue. Just because this one says lines of dialogue doesn't mean I can't ask it for armors and potions or whatever else I want. The difference in each of these is that it is pre-filled with information to give you an idea of what you could put in here. Okay, that's it. So if you just look at this layout, asking for the list, context, examples, if I go back into the dialogue, they all look the same, okay? Again, they're just pre-filled with something to give you ideas of how to use it. So you would go in here and just erase everything or go to the something else and it's not pre-filled with anything. So give me a list of, let me check that chat. What was our list? Lusalia, anything standing out besides romance, fantasy? I'm seeing some cozy mystery.
Yeah, I was seeing a lot of cozy mystery too.
Okay, sounds good. Give me a list of cozy mystery story premises. And again, if you know you want it to involve something, put that in here for some additional information. The more details you can give it that you have, the closer it'll be to what you want. Leaving it very broad like this is going to give us some broad context. So let's try it. Give me a list of cozy mystery story premises. I'm going to click start. This thumbs down, thumbs up. Thumbs up is going to put the card over here so I can come down here and save it. Thumbs down is going to delete the card. Anytime you do either one of these, it's going to replace that card. So it's going to cost some credits, okay? And we'll look at that in a minute. So let's see what he gave us. Small town librarian, hidden journal, buried treasure. Retired detective opens a bookstore. Not crazy about that. I like this one. I mean, it's been done, but it's done repeatedly for a reason. So I like that. Let's go back to the top. Famous chef found dead in their own kitchen. Why not? Somebody might like that. Small town librarian in her book club. Sounds good. So you'll see the ones over here getting saved for thumbs down, for thumbs up and thumbs down. Break that card up, so that card is now gone. Group of friends reunite at a secluded cabin in the woods, because that's not ominous. All right, so if I want to, I can save and exit. I can also come up here. Let's say, hey, these just aren't hitting the spot. Can anybody give me some ideas for improvement of what they would like to see? Do you want it involving a librarian, a baker, something else? Librarian set in, oops, sorry, that went fast. Librarian set in New York. Okay. Give me cozy mystery story premises with a librarian protagonist set in New York. Travel agent solves murders while on vacation. I actually like that too. All right. Librarian protagonist set in New York. If you want maybe to have that librarian have a quirk of some sorts, you could put that here or in context, whatever you want. But so I edited that and I'm just going to click done. Now, if you'll notice, these stayed the same. They didn't change yet. And if anybody missed it, edit is this little pencil icon. Make whatever changes you need. And then you hit this refresh button. And it didn't do anything. There we go. A little slow. Rare book goes missing from the New York Public Library. Rare book collector is murdered. Not bad. Antique book with a hidden message. And not simple, but let's put in there. All right, so I'm going to save and exit. Now you'll notice they're all right here. So all of those ones I saved are now in this card. So I'm just going to bump this down, put my cursor here in this document, and I can insert it. And you'll see it stays purple. That happens with all of the cards, as you're going to see later on in other features like write, guided write, all of that. The text stays purple until you edit it. As soon as you edit it, it turns white. That's just to let you know, hey, this came directly from the AI. You have not made any changes. Oh, here you made some changes. And of course, instead of just inserting, I can copy it here, whatever you want. There's no difference really in what happens. All right, so that was Brainstorm. We covered Quick Chat as well. There are some plugins you can use. Plugins will be one thing I do not go over heavily because there is plugin school every Monday. So you can attend those if you want to learn more. But I can come into plugins and search for, let's see what Brainstorm picks up. Oops, I clicked create plugin, my bad. I'm so sorry, y'all. Nicole, you said you know how to use this better than Google Slides. I do, I swear. All right, so Brainstorm got us erotic ones. So not bad. Let's see if I search up story ideas. Three story plots and 3 plot twists generated. That sounds good. Let's use that one and this one. So I want to add this real quick. So if you decide you want to try a plugin, just click that add button. go back. I'm actually going to do a new document real quick. So when you add one or create one, it typically goes to the bottom of your plugin list. So it's right here. And I didn't specify anything, so it gave us mystery thriller. That's good because we don't have that in our list yet. Sci-fi fantasy. Okay. So I'm just going to copy this and bring it up here. Again, I'm going to give this document to y'all so y'all can go through, see if y'all like anything and want to use it. All right, so plugins are very versatile. That's the lightest way to put it. Basically, if Sudowrite isn't doing something that you want it to do or doing it a certain way, you can create a plugin for that. Again, at 10 plugin schools, Christina teaches that. She shows you how to make them, how to use them. She usually has themes each week where she focuses on something specific. But they are very easy to create, y'all, I promise. What was the other one? I would like to be able to search my extensive list here. I'm just going to do the series creator. Why not? I saw it, so we'll do it. All right, so let's do 5 books for sci-fi adventures. Now the plugins, they're created by the users, y'all. Okay, Sudowrite does not maintain these. And typically, we the users create these for specific purposes. So a plugin may suddenly not work anymore and the user is not going to keep it up because they don't need it. And you'll notice they do not output the same type of content or in the same format. They output however they were instructed to output. So that's why there's going to be a very big difference from one plugin to the next. Keep that in mind. Again, I'm just going to copy all of this, but you can see what this one came up with for the series creator. Not bad. Right. One of the other features I wanted to show today was first draft. So first draft is very versatile. We're going to look at doing it for story premises. We'll look at it for nonfiction real quick. But these are some details about it. So the input box can hold 900 words. You can actually put in more words, but you're going to get an error message, okay? Keep that in mind. I think first draft is actually on their list to do some updating too, so that might change in the future. But first draft, you can ask for story ideas, nonfiction book ideas. You can ask it to outline a story. You can ask it for detailed character sheets, character backstory. There's so much first draft can do. And again, this is one that's using ChatGPT, but it is uncensored. So for example, I'm going to say, all right, to get to first draft, this is important because it never fails. Somebody's going to say, I can't find first draft. You have to be in a blank document. First draft is in this menu, all the way at the bottom under my plugins. So I'm going to scroll down. There's nothing that says first draft, right? Nothing. However, if I go to this blank document right here, same menu, suddenly I have first draft. You have to be in this blank document, okay? So click first draft. and put in whatever information you want, whatever prompt you want right here. Again, up to 900 words. We'll play with a couple of things so you can see how versatile it can be. So write an outline for a nonfiction book about, we did this one before. I loved it, so I want to do it again. Write an outline for a nonfiction book about how to get away with murder. And then, where are my sparkles? Normally it does pretty sparkles, and I'm not seeing that, and that's very upsetting. Bug report. I love the sparkles, y'all. Let's look at some of our costs so far here. I need to zoom out. Let me get that, wait for that to be done just so I don't mess anything up. So that's done. It didn't, there we go. All right, so you see our brainstorm when I was going through those different cards, having it add in new cards and everything like that. Hold on just a moment. Okay. All right, so you see each of these brainstorm cards, just think of it as 300 credits, okay? It's normally a little bit under, averaging about 250. That plugin that I ran, the 3 story plots, 3 plot twist, cost just over 200 for what it gave us. Excellent. The series creator plugin, only 90 credits for that, y'all. First draft, this right here, what we just ran, 357. Apparently they have done some adjusting because that it was never expensive, but that's about half of what it used to cost. So our little plugin here, let me put this back up for y'all. Let me know if y'all can't see that, and I need to make it bigger. So how to get away with murder. Need to know the legal system, of course. Importance of planning, very important to plan out this murder. Some might argue, well, I mean, you get in more trouble for planning it out. Create a solid alibi. Lusalia is my alibi. Choosing the right victim, very important. You don't want to grab the wrong one. Necessary tools. Go to your neighbor and borrow some, okay? Don't go to the store and have them be able to trace it on your credit card or a receipt or on camera buying the stuff, okay? The crime. Dealing with witnesses. Sometimes there's collateral damage. Let's see, different methods. So if I wanted to, I can actually, I'm just going to copy it all at once. You can do it separate. But I can go in here, let's see, if I really want to write this book, and I am debating it, I'm wondering if Amazon would actually let me publish it. But I can go to another blank document again. Of course, make adjustments. I forget to say that, I always take it for granted. Everything the AI gives you, you go through it. If it's nonfiction, verify that it's accurate. I don't know how you're going to verify all this, but I bet it'll be a blast. But also make your changes. Start making this yours, okay? Clicking that button, just taking everything, it's going to result in subpar quality. So I'm going to tell it to write this chapter for a nonfiction book. And how to get away with murder. And I'm going to put brackets because I like to put brackets around all of my instructions. Press go. And so this is how you can start writing your nonfiction book. You can do the same for fiction. Just keep in mind, first draft does not see anything yet. So you might write chapter 1, and then when you go to write chapter 2, it's going to give you just a story that is completely disconnected, different characters, all of those types of things, okay? It does not have that context to know to continue something. So that's why it's much easier to do for nonfiction. Am I able to scroll up? No, I am not. I love that comment. Sometimes the witness turns into a romantic interest. That is spot on. And you can't give me story ideas like that. All right, so there we go. Different methods, poison, suffocation, drowning. And then it'll actually list all of these out. I have seen it actually do over 3,000 words, for like ways to dispose of a body. So it'll give you much more. Let's do a blank document again. So let's look at fiction. I gave you a prompt here. First draft is geared to writing prose, okay? So a lot of times if you're asking for story premise ideas, backstory, stuff like that, it will start writing prose. This prompt helps about 90% of the time. So use that. And you'll notice this prompt here is longer than the prompt I was using earlier. Oops. So this is the prompt I was using earlier, and this is bigger because first draft can hold more and it can output more. It can output much more than brainstorm with the little cards and things like that. So I do like to give it a longer prompt. And I'm not going to use this one, but this is just an example of other things and how much you can put inside first draft. I've done templates like this for characters, for world building. If you have an outline structure that you like to use, give it your story premise, give it your outline structure, tell it to outline that story premise. So play around with that for first draft. Make sure I copied this. Let's go back to first draft. And after this, there's one more method I am going to show y'all. So you should have no problem coming up with a story idea. And please don't let me forget to share this document with y'all with all of these ideas. All right. And one of my lovely co-hosts, please give me another genre that seemed to be popular. Did I break my co-host?
Looks like dark fantasy was the third.
Dark fantasy. Oh, I think we did dark fantasy with quick chat.
And we did sci-fi and mystery. Then there's thriller and romantasy.
You know what? Let's do this. Give me 5 unique story premise ideas for a variety of genres. Oh, let me rephrase this. Give me 3 unique story premise ideas for each of the main genres. Along with main character, this might be asking for a bit much because I'm asking it to go through each of the main genres, give 3 premises each, along with the main character bios. So we'll see how this goes. And then I did the avoid writing prose. Let me copy this just in case I need to do it again. Because I do like to give it a second chance if it messes up the first time. Ilara. All right, so I'm going to tell y'all this right now. If you have not used AI before, it tends to decide on the name according to the genre. I have some naming plugins and GPTs, if you prefer to use ChatGPT, that work really well. So just know you're going to have to, whether it's using a plugin, GPT, coming up with your own names, using other websites, because there's many of them out there, you need to go in and change the name. More than likely, you're not going to be happy with what it comes up with. And you'll notice that. I know detectives, there's always like a Jack Stone. We always usually have like a Jack and Sarah for romance, for small town especially. A Laura for the fantasy, Serafina for the fantasy. So check those out. If you want to do, if you're interested in the plugins, I have a variety of them ranging in cost. One of them is Mixtral, super cheap. One is Goliath. It's more costly. However, I find Goliath gives the best results. All right, so let's see. This gave us just over 1,822 credits for that. I think it only did fantasy and romance. Yeah, looks like it only did fantasy and romance. They must have nerfed it a little bit. But you know what you could do? Say you like one of these stories or it's kind of close to what you're wanting and you want to go ahead and use that for this week. I could copy this, bring up, I can again click quick edit right here, or I use my keyboard shortcuts, bring up quick chat, and I'm going to tell it, turn this premise into a psychological thriller. So it's going to read what I highlighted right there. Oops. And there we go. It now turned in. I don't know how well, I just skimmed over it, but that is something you can do. And don't be afraid to follow this up. If you don't like what it gave you, or if you only like half of it, tell it, I like this, I don't like that, change this, give me more ideas, I'm not happy with this. Whatever you need, follow that up right here under the text, under the message, and keep going. One more. Copy all of this for y'all. Be a lengthy document I share here. All right, so one more thing you can do. I'm going to go back to this simple one. Now, if you notice up here, I mentioned fairy tale retellings. They are so easy to do for things like this, y'all, for when you're learning something and experimenting. Because first of all, you know how the original went. You might already have ideas for how you could change it up and make it better. They also work very well for different genres. So I'm going to come down to brain dump. Give me 5 story premise ideas for fairy tale retellings. And I could give it, leave it at that, or I could tell it to go do a certain genre. I could tell it to make them dark. I actually like that idea, so make them grim and dark. So that's it for brain dump right there. And then I can just come down to synopsis, generate. And I now have 5 premises right here. As always, I can make some changes, do whatever I need, work with quick chat if I need to improve some stuff, maybe throw it in first draft even and get my character backstories and detailed character sheets. So that's how these things start tying in together and let you develop your story premise. Let's see, we got Cinders. I wonder who Cinders is. Right, so yeah, I would actually, I know I've done Greta, Hansel and Greta in a dystopian nature. I have done Pinocchio. I love doing the horror stories with these. So I've done a Pinocchio horror where Pinocchio actually dies. They're fun. We did a Cinderella where she was a serial killer. You can do so much with fairy tale retellings. So we have, wow, 3,999 words. We just couldn't make that one extra word. Really? So I don't know about you. I didn't get a chance to read all it. Well, I know y'all didn't because I went through it too fast trying to show y'all everything. But look through these, see which ones you like. And tomorrow we're going to work on actually refining these. But to recap, you have first draft, go into a blank document, then go to the plugins, and it'll be down here in that blank document. You have brainstorm to use. You can do that brain dump that I just did. You can work with quick chat. So lots of options for you. I am going to share this document with you. I am going to also go ahead and stop the recording, but as a reminder, I am not hopping off. We still have Q&A to cover, and I don't want to leave y'all hanging with anything. But thank y'all very much for hanging out with me today. Hang out with me all week. Again, there's a little bit something probably going to be in it for you at the end of the week if you can put up with me. All right. Bye, everybody.